He's an excellent candidate for a heart transplant. Well, all I could think about was the guy in South Africa who got a gorilla heart and a mechanical heart. This sounded horrible to me. But by 2009, he was really sick. In 2010, sick. In 2009, when we went to Dr. Lawson and found out that it was his job making him sick, I said, you have to quit. He said, are you kidding me? What are we going to do? We've got bills. We need 2 incomes. I said, we will figure this out. Because my thought was, if you die, I have all the money I need, but I don't need that. My life, what I enjoy, what's important to me are the things I believe in, you as a husband, and my wonderful children who absolutely adore you as well. So it was about keeping that together. So in 2009, we went in to resign, and we found out that he could possibly be covered by workers' comp, but no one has ever won. At that point, no one had ever won a case of workers' compensation against the United States Senate. The lady who spoke with us for about an hour and a half. She said, you have a tough job to prove this. They're gonna, at every single turn, they're gonna turn you down. She said, workers' comp's job is to make sure that you don't get coverage. It's there if you really need it. And so far, there's no one in the Senate. We've never had a successful case won against the United States Senate. So we go on and on. By 2012, he is deathly ill. By 2013, his heart is so weak that we have to have ablations done, which is when they go and they burn spots of the heart where they think the arrhythmias are coming from. So on February 14th, Valentine's Day of 2013, at a nearby hospital not in Virginia or DC, they did surgery on him, and unbeknownst to me at that time, I didn't find out until later, they damaged the good side of his heart. So he had a bad side of his heart, they damaged the good side. So he continued to weaken. By March, he was at the point that he was effectively, he was dying. I would meet with the doctors, and I was careful. My husband is the kind of person that when the doctors are telling him news, I feel him looking at me because he knows I'm looking at them. And then after the doctor leaves the room, he always said, do you have that? Did you get what they said? So this is now 2000, and this is March, and he is doing well, not doing well at all, and his defibrillator is going off. It is going off, and he is thrusting so much at night that he is hitting me and waking me up. So we're running back and forth to the hospital. We go to the hospital in April, and they try to do some things to him, but his heart is so weak. They put what is called a swan in his neck, and so it's got all these wires coming out. And I will tell you, in the hospital appointments my husband had, all of 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, now 2013, whenever he was in the hospital, we were in the hospital. I would spend the night. His condition was such that it wasn't like it was a slow thing. He could go at any second. That defibrillator would go off like that. So I would spend the night. And initially that was a little challenging because some hospitals, I remember going out to the car to get something and coming back in, and it was visiting hours had ended, and the guard said, excuse me, ma'am, visiting hours are over. I said, don't worry about it, I'm not a visitor, I live here with my husband. We're over here in ICU. And he said, ma'am. I said, listen, check with whoever you need to, but you'll catch me up. This is the floor and this is the room. And I would kept going because, once again, he wasn't the right person to ask. I didn't have to check in with him. And it's not that I don't have respect for people that are security or RoboCops, as they call them. But basically, I knew I needed to be by my husband's side. I was answering all the questions. So by April the 13th, he was really ill, and we had a doctor who came in. At that point, they realized if we don't do something with his heart quickly, he needs a heart transplant. But the problem is, on the East Coast, high-dense area, one of the most challenging areas in the country to get a heart transplant, with his blood type, it would require 18 months to 2 years for him to get a heart transplant. Well, I didn't want him to have one anyway. I just wanted him to keep his own heart, just make it better. But once they convinced me that they couldn't make it better, I'm thinking, okay, what are we going to do? So the doctor comes into the room, and she said, Mrs. Howell, you need to get real. Your husband is very, very ill. And I'm thinking to myself, I have been sleeping on this hard chair, spent up like a pretzel all this time, for the last 3 days that he's been in here in ICU. I am serious, but I didn't say that because I thought my mom said, it's too small to fight in here. Figure out a way to get along and find something nice to say. And I said, Dr. Shaw, thank you so much for coming. And I said, I really appreciate the fact that you are so concerned about it. She said, listen, he has about 5 or 6 days. You need to make a decision. We can do something here, but something needs to happen with your husband. I said, well, my husband has some very specific things that he wants done. He wants a heart transplant. He doesn't, your doctors have already said they can't do it the way he wants it. And she said, well, if you're looking for somebody that's going to give him a heart transplant the way he wants without using blood products, that person doesn't exist. She said, you have got to get real. He is very ill. And she had a rock on her finger like the headlight of a car. This woman, and she's a stunning woman. I was thinking to myself, you are so pretty, why you have to be so mean? But anyway, she left the room, and that was really a very sad time because she said all these things. He's laying right here, he's not a piece of furniture. She's talking to me, and it's interesting, the rest of that day I didn't say anything to my husband about that. After he laid back down, I said, Donnie, do you want a sip of water? Do you want anything? He said, no. I said, you want the TV on? He said, no. He was fading fast, and I was at my wit's end because I thought, this really can't be it. She just told me that the doctor I'm looking for does not exist. And I'm thinking, how in the world? She doesn't know everybody in the world. And then I thought, you got to ask the right person the right thing. So then, my iPad will travel. I started Googling, how could I find a doctor? First of all, we have a very specific network. And different hospitals do different kinds of transplants in different ways. A hospital, 1 year will be able to do a kidney and a lung, but the next year they can do a heart and a liver, so they move it all over the place. So our insurance was specific, but from working at the US Senate, I told my husband when he started, buy the same insurance the senators have. Get the most expensive insurance we can afford. I learned that a long time ago from Diamond. For I have a family that, it used to be when somebody would die, everybody had to pull together that we got to bury Uncle Joe. I'm like, well, didn't Uncle Joe have insurance? So I'm a strong believer in having good insurance. Okay, so we had this amazing insurance that was phenomenal. So that night, my husband and I didn't really, he went to sleep earlier. They had given him something. He went to sleep earlier. I'm laying beside him, still switched up like a pretzel, and still thinking about what the doctor said. And I start Googling, and I'm trying to find somebody that can do a heart transplant on somebody that really doesn't want a heart transplant on a very sensitive situation, and that without using blood and without using some of these other techniques that they use that, because I've done the research, that make you sicker than you are. And I came across this doctor, the University of Chicago. It just popped up on the page. It was unbelievable. I started reading. By this time, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm looking at this. I said, oh my goodness. The more I'm reading about this man, his name is Value-Van Jeevananda. And I can roll it off my tongue right now as if I'm saying bazooka bubblegum, but before I could. And I thought, I can't believe this. I start texting my kids the wee hours. I said, I found Superman. I reach over to my husband. I wake him up. He said, what's wrong? What's wrong? I said, honey, I found Superman. I found a surgeon that can help you. I absolutely can. This is the doctor we need. He said, okay, well, how will we get her? What do we do? I said, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. So from my iPad, I emailed the University of Chicago. Also, he had his own email address. I emailed that. Yeah. Now, this is April the 14th. It's a Sunday. I got to wait 4 o'clock Sunday morning. I got to wait all day Sunday to Monday morning. So far, I have just emailed out to my close set of friends to let them know I have found a doctor. I think my husband might be okay. It's not going to be like, we had just had a friend who had died a couple months earlier because that same hospital said there was nothing they could do for him. So I wait till Monday morning. 9 o'clock in the morning, I dial the phone. It rings, and nothing happens. And my husband said, calm down. He said, you always get so excited. He said, you always think something great is going to happen. And I will tell you, I always imagine something exciting or something good is going to happen. That came from how I grew up. I always imagined something good is going to happen. But anyway, I'm calling and nobody's answering. And I thought, was this a dream? And I pull up the webpage and everything. I'm like, it's Chicago. It is a different time zone.